All right, you guys, welcome back to the Debasement Index. My name is Angel Rios, and this is a channel solely focused on building capital in a fiat world together. Now, I'm actually very excited for this episode because in this episode, just as the title says, I am going to reveal the Debasement Index Portfolio. Now, I was thinking about this a lot, and I realized that I can talk about Bitcoin as much as I would like, and silver and gold and Bitcoin backed companies, so on and so forth. But if in my channel, I don't show that I'm putting my own money where my mouth is, then I'm not going to create any of that rapport with you guys. So I came up with a really cool idea that I hope that you guys like, and I hope that you guys come along for the journey. Now, just remember, none of this on this channel is investment advice or financial advice. It is purely for entertainment purposes only. But with that being said, let's talk about the Debasement Index Portfolio. All right, guys. So the Debasement Index Portfolio is going to be categorized into three different kinds of investing. The first one's going to be growth. The second one will be yield. And the third one will be just savings. Okay, but savings that appreciates and beats the hurdle rate and beats the current monetary debasement that is going on right now. Now, the goal of this portfolio that I'm opening up another Fidelity account in order to put some of my money in there. And that will be the account that I share with you guys. And I'm about to purchase another cold storage wallet so I can put new allocations of Bitcoin in there. And those are the ones I'm going to share with you. Now, my family and I, we have portfolio. So the portfolio that I'm going to show you guys is literally the same that I have privately for myself and my family, both in Bitcoin and cold storage, and these equities that I'm telling you about in the portfolio. But with the one that we're going to do here publicly, I'm going to get some of my own money, put it in there, and we're going to grow it together. All right, we're going to grow it together, and every week I'll do an update on how the portfolio is doing. Where do I feel like the companies are going? Are they doing well? Are they doing poorly? How's management doing? And the goal for 2026, it's very exciting, is going to be to get this portfolio to $100,000 by the end of 2026, this public portfolio. That's my goal. And I'm very excited for you guys to come to the journey with me, all right? Like I said, the three types of investing are going to be growth, it's going to be yield, and then it's going to be savings that appreciates, okay? Now, the growth part of it, I'm more, pointing it towards equities, okay? So it's going to be in companies that we'll go over in this video, give you guys kind of a quick little rundown. But it's basically going to be companies that are investing in Bitcoin, most notably known as Bitcoin treasury companies. And there's going to be three different ones that we're going to be investing in, four actually, in this portfolio. Now, the second type of investing is going to be yield, okay? And that's going to be more of a Bitcoin backed collateral that's giving me, with a portfolio, a yield return back. Okay, and I'm going to explain exactly how it is that works and what vehicles we're going to use in order to do so. Okay, and then the third one is going to be savings. Okay, savings that appreciates, that goes above and beyond the hurdle rate. And the savings, it's going to be Bitcoin. Okay, it's going to be Bitcoin and cold storage. I'm very excited about that one because then I can teach you guys how to actually buy Bitcoin and then move it into cold storage so it's safe and you have it in your own possession. Now, the rules for this portfolio are going to be that Bitcoin and gold and silver in my own possession, so in cold storage or gold and silver in my safe, the amount of however it is measured in US dollars, okay? So the amount of value of that in US dollars has to always exceed the value of whatever stocks I buy, okay? So my goal is to have 75% of this portfolio in Bitcoin and cold storage and gold in my own possession. And then 25% of the portfolio is going to be in the stocks. Now, the reason for that is because, for example, Bitcoin, gold, silver, they're all bearer assets, right? They only truly work if you yourself hold them, if you yourself own them, if you have it in your own possession. Okay, remember, we're feeling very shaky about the future prospects of the US dollar. So you don't want to have most of your account or your investment in stuff that is in the custody of somebody else. Now, with that being said, in the current monetary system, you can get very nice growth from investing in these companies in the stock market, right? In dollar denominated derivatives, stock derivatives, because a lot of the time they give you a lot bigger amplification than the actual gains of Bitcoin. So, for example, if Bitcoin goes up $100, maybe one of these, a lot of the time, these companies have a 28%, 30% amplification on it. So if Bitcoin goes up $100, the stock, you invest $100 in the stock too, that stock will go up $130. So you get a very nice spread there. And then that's money that you can then switch around and go ahead and buy more Bitcoin with it and go ahead and do the exchange from fiat to the actual Bitcoin. So essentially, the plan is to amplify the dollar equities value so I can actually buy more Bitcoin in the future. So it's all about funneling more and more money, more and more cash into the Bitcoin and cold storage. Okay. So without further ado, let's get into the companies, the derivatives, and the Bitcoin that we're going to be investing in. Okay, so let's start with the first equity that we're going to be investing in. This company is called Strategy, formerly known as MicroStrategy, ticker symbol MSTR. Now, I love this company. I absolutely love it. I love what they're doing with Bitcoin. And the founder, Michael J. Saylor, he's been running this company for 30 years, and they pivoted to a Bitcoin treasury strategy during COVID when Michael Saylor realized that monetary debasement was absolutely eating away at the cash treasury that his company built with hard work over time. And he pivoted into, instead of having a cash treasury, US dollar treasury is now a Bitcoin treasury for the company. Now, over time, over the last 5 years, they found very ingenious ways to use common stock and preferred stock and yield products in order to increase the amount of Bitcoin that they own, therefore increasing the Bitcoin value of the company. Okay, it's called MNAV. We'll get into that some other time. Now, if you hear Michael J. Saylor, you can look up some of his videos on YouTube. The way this man speaks and the conviction that he speaks about Bitcoin will absolutely blow your mind. I thought I understood Bitcoin until I heard Michael J. Saylor talk about Bitcoin, and he's in a different league of himself, and I want to go ahead and be a part of the growth of that company because I do believe that it's fixing a lot of issues, especially for savers and retirees. And we'll get into how that company does that, all right? So I love the executive team, the CEO, Fong Lee, and then Michael J. Saylor as the executive chairman for the company. They're absolutely killing it, and they're doing amazing things with the company. Now, the ticker symbol is MSTR, and in the equities, that's probably going to be the biggest position on this portfolio. Okay. Now, the next company is very similar to Strategy. It's also a Bitcoin treasury company. The name is Strive. So Strive, ticker symbol ASST. They also use common stock, preferred stock, and all these different kinds of derivatives in the stock market in order to increase their Bitcoin share, so the amount of Bitcoin that they own. And they also have yield products in the form of Sava, right, that really help them increase the total amount of Bitcoin that they have. Now, the good thing about these two companies is that they have an amplification on Bitcoin. This is what I was talking about earlier. So, for example, if Bitcoin goes up $100, MSCR and Strive will go up $130. So they normally have between a 20 and 30% amplification on the appreciation of Bitcoin. Now, they also have an amplification on the depreciation. So if Bitcoin is going down, these companies will also go down more than what Bitcoin goes down. So it's a double-edged sword. And there's a lot of volatility there, but I believe volatility is great in this market. Volatility means vitality, and we can go ahead and use that to our advantage, because when it's going up a lot, we can just ride that wave. And then when it's going down to a certain level, then we can go ahead and accumulate more of the stock to be ready for the next run up. The third treasury company that I'm super, super bullish about is called Metaplanet. Okay, ticker symbol MTPJY. Okay, so no, MTPLF, excuse me. All right, so ticker symbol MTPLF. So Metaplanet is a super similar company to Strategy, just in Japan. It's not in the US, it's in Japan. And the reason I'm super bullish about Metaplanet is because they work very closely in conjunction with Strategy. They talk about how to approach this. They create wonderful products together. They bounce off of each other. And another reason why I'm super bullish about Metaplanet is because they're solving a huge problem in Japan. So in Japan, for the longest time, savers have negative yields, right? So for example, if they put their money in their bank account, they might get a basis point maybe of interest, or a lot of them actually have to pay money to have in fees, to have their money in a savings account. And the thing is, Japan is a culture of savers. People there save money, right? And when Metaplanet's credit instruments and yield instruments, so on and so forth, got introduced in Japan, it's really kicking butt over there. It's really doing great. And I think adoption is just starting over there, about putting the people over there, the citizens of Japan, putting their savings into the instruments that Metaplanet gives them or offers to the public in the Japanese equities. And the amazing thing is that we can capitalize on that growth here in the United States because they are listed in the US stock exchange as well. So super bullish about Metaplanet. I can't wait to go ahead and break that company down for you guys, especially when I go ahead and put all the allocations into the public portfolio that we're going to do. And I go ahead and show you guys. I'm going to screen share it and show you guys everything week to week to week to week. Now, the fourth equity that we're going to do is it's a company called 21, ticker symbol XXI. Okay, it's a company ran by the CEO, Jack Mallers, and it is a joint venture between Jack Mallers, SoftBank, and Tether. And we'll also get into why that's just a bullish combination of companies and individuals. Now, Jack Mallers is a very young, very dynamic CEO. He's very, very successful for his young age, and he's been in the Bitcoin space for the longest time, since Bitcoin, I think, was like $15, $30. So he understands it very well, and he's seen the ups, he's seen the downs. Man's been through it, okay? And he has a very awesome show called The Jack Mallers Show on YouTube, where you can actually tune into it and you can see how he thinks about Bitcoin in a geopolitical, macroeconomic way. And it makes a lot of sense. It's very entertaining. He's also a millennial. So he really identifies with the issues that, millennials, Gen Zers, so on and so forth are going through, right? He's not just some old guy that owns billion-dollar companies in the stock market. He's in tune with the people. He's a man of the people, that guy. All right. So those are the four companies that we are going to invest in equities for in order to get some Bitcoin, not just exposure, but amplification. Now, the hard assets that we'll invest in equity form, right? So we're going to buy ticker symbols for this. We're going to be hard money in the form of gold and silver. Now, we'll also have gold and silver in self-custody more than we have in equities, but I also want a little bit in this portfolio just to give it a little bit of more flavor and exposure to other things. The ticker symbol for the silver derivative is going to be SLV. Okay, so it's the iShares Trust Silver Trust. Okay, and it's just going to track the performance of silver over time. Okay, and we'll go ahead and invest into that. And then the other one is ticker symbol GLD. which is the SPDR Gold Trust, and that will track the value of gold. Now, you might ask me, hey, Angel, why don't you invest in the IBIT ETF, right? Which is the Bitcoin ETF. And the reason is because I can just buy Bitcoin directly, and I'd rather buy Bitcoin directly, period, always, every single time. I don't want to give my money to BlackRock for BlackRock to go ahead and hold my Bitcoin. Bitcoin is absolutely sacred to me. So if I'm going to put myself in direct exposure to Bitcoin, I'm just going to buy the Bitcoin myself. Okay. So now you guys know the equities that we're going to be investing into in this Fidelity portfolio. Now let's get into the credit instruments that we're going to extract yield from, that we're going to invest in this portfolio. So let's go ahead and get into those, and that will also be in the Fidelity account. All right, so the credit instruments that we're going to be investing to is two of them. One is ticker symbol STRC, and the other one is ticker symbol SATA, SATA. Okay. Now, the purpose of the credit instruments that are going to give us a yield is because I want to balance out the portfolio while still having Bitcoin exposure. Now, remember I told you guys that bonds are dead. Okay, so bonds are dead. And before, there used to be such a thing as a 60-40 portfolio. That doesn't exist anymore. There's no longer 60% stocks and 40% bonds, because bonds are negative yielding compared to not only the rate of inflation, but the rate of monetary debasement. It's a joke. So I'm flipping it on its head. I'm going to have the equities, and then I'm going to have what you could consider Bitcoin-backed bonds as that other part of the portfolio to stabilize it, okay? So these two instruments, STRC is from MSTR, right? So it's from Strategy. And both STRC and SATA. So STRC is called Stretch, and then SATA, SATA. They're both preferred stock, and they trade at a par value of $100. Okay. Now, the value of the $100 will range between $100 and $95, $94. Okay. If that particular preferred stock is trading above $100 par value, the company goes ahead and sells more of the shares in order to get the par value back down to 100. So it's not a growth instrument to invest to. It's a yield investment. Okay, so Stretch, STRC, gives an 11% yield, and SATA, SATA, gives a 12% yield. So what the company is doing, the companies are betting that Bitcoin continues to grow at a CAGR, or compound annual growth rate, of 30, 40, 50%. Okay, so what you're doing essentially by buying this preferred stock is you're giving the company, let's just say you buy one share of Stretch, STRC. You buy one share of STRC at $100. They use that money to buy Bitcoin. The Bitcoin that they have from your $100 goes up 30, 40, 50% a year. And then you keep a spread of that. So you keep the 11%. And then they keep the rest. So if Bitcoin goes up 40%, they keep 29%, and then you keep 11%. So that's the way that works. But you can think of it as a Bitcoin-backed bond that gives you a yield that actually outpaces the rate of monetary debasement. And the way that I use it in not only my private portfolio, but the way that we're going to use it in this public portfolio is it's going to even out the risk. I'm going to put about 20 to 30% into the Stretch and SATA instruments, which are the credit yielding instruments, in order to safeguard a lot of the portfolio, whether the portfolio is going up or down. And then the rest of the 70% or the rest of the other 60% will be in these high growth equities, Bitcoin backed equities. So that's the plan for the credit yielding products, right? Is to turn the old 60/40 portfolio thesis on its head into something that is actually aligned with the values of this YouTube channel and my values and the values of this investment thesis, which is Bitcoin. Bitcoin and hard money, right? So Bitcoin, gold, and silver. Okay. So we're going to actually extract the yield from the Bitcoin that these companies purchase and the appreciation that they get from the Bitcoin that they purchase with the money that we go ahead and give them. So that is where this yield investing fits in this portfolio. Now, these instruments that I just told you guys about, both the equities and the yield products, that is what's going to be in the portfolio for Fidelity. So those are going to be the dollar denominated assets, which, remember, it's always going to be less than the Bitcoin, the gold, the silver that we hold in self custody. So now I'm going to get into how we're going to buy gold and silver to get it here physically, and how you can too, and how we're going to buy and store Bitcoin for this particular portfolio, which is my favorite thing to talk about. So let's go ahead and get into that. So let's start with gold and silver. So to keep it super simple, gold and silver, you're actually going to purchase, so you can purchase on whatever you want. I can't tell you what to do, but a very easy way to do it is to buy through AppMax. I've been using them for a while, and it's a very trusted gold and silver and precious metals dealer. And you can just download the app on your phone. Go ahead and download the AppMax app. And then from there, put your information in there, put how you're going to purchase the silver, the physical silver and gold, and you pick what you want. And you can purchase from big amounts to small amounts, all the way down to a gram, half a gram, all the way up to kilos and straight bullion. The plan with this one is just to buy gold and silver slowly, accumulate a set amount every month, and get it delivered to the house and then store it in the house. Now, I find that to be super easy and simple. Just buy the thing, own the thing, and keep the thing. And gold and silver, although I'm a far bigger believer in Bitcoin than I am in gold and silver, I do see Bitcoin as digital gold, and then obviously gold is physical gold. Now, with the way the world is going, we're going to a more advanced technological digital age. So it makes more sense to me that Bitcoin has a far greater use case in that kind of environment, especially that technological environment, because it's gonna bleed into finances and the financial sector and the financial world and how it operates. You see it with stable coins and all this other stuff now. However, it does, and this is just me personally, it does give me a certain peace of mind to just have analog gold. So physical gold would be analog world, it's there physically with you. And then Bitcoin is digital gold. It belongs in the digital world. So you have a little bit of both, or a hedge on both. So that's why, to me personally, I know it's just a shiny rock. And there's this saying that really shocked me is your grandparents will never buy Bitcoin, but your grandchildren will never buy gold. So it's weird because we're in this weird middle of the two worlds. And I'm just gonna do the middle, and I'm gonna own far more Bitcoin than I do silver and gold, but I still would like to own some. And if someday it becomes worth no money in this future age that we go to, I'll just take it to a jeweler and get it made into nice jewelry in the future and just give it to my wife. Not a bad plan. So that's the plan with gold and silver. Just buy it on AppMax, buy little quantities, bigger quantities, always less than Bitcoin, but always more than the silver and gold that we have in the equities, and then just hold it physically, put it in the safe, forget about it. Now, Bitcoin, super simple, you're gonna buy Bitcoin on Coinbase. Once the funds settle, you're gonna go ahead and transfer that Bitcoin to your cold storage wallet. Now, for this portfolio in particular, I'm gonna use the Tangent wallet just because it's easy to use, and I can go ahead and pull up the screen and show you guys the amount of Bitcoin that's in there and the dollar value, because that's what we're going with here for the value of the portfolio. And I'm also going to do a Bitcoin value for it. because remember, we're investing in Bitcoin companies. So there's a Bitcoin value that comes from that. So we'll go ahead and compare it to that too. But for the physical Bitcoin, or the self-custody Bitcoin, I should say, that's what we're going to do. We're going to buy Bitcoin on Coinbase. Once the funds settle, we'll move them to the Tangent wallet, and we'll know that the Bitcoin that we have for the public portfolio is in self-custody, safe, and at no risk other than me doing something stupid, which I'm pretty proficient with these things. And I'll do a video breaking down how to hold Bitcoin in self-custody so you guys aren't lost in the sauce when it comes to it. All right, so that's pretty much it, guys. That's the play for physical gold and silver. So just a quick little overview rundown. We're going to be investing in different flavors of hard money investing. We're going to do the equities in the Fidelity portfolio. The equities are going to be MSTR, which is strategy. It's going to be ASST, which is Strive. It's going to be MTPLF, which is Metaplanet. It's going to be XXI, which is 21 Capital. Those are going to be the equities, all right? The growth for the equity portfolio. Now for the yield investing, it'll be Stretch with STRC, which is a preferred stock through strategy, paying an 11% dividend every single year, paid monthly, by the way. And then SATA, SATA, paying a 12% yield from the company Strive. Now for the equities for Fidelity, we're going to have SLV for tracking the value of silver, and we're going to have GLD for tracking the value of gold. And that'll be it for the dollar derivatives portion of the portfolio, which remember, always smaller than the physical that you own in self-custody. Now for self-custody, we're going to own silver, we're going to own gold, purchasing it on AppMex. They send it to the house. Super easy, good to go, put in the safe, forget about it. And then the Bitcoin, which is the main part of the portfolio, I swear, the Bitcoin in self-custody is probably going to be 70% of the whole portfolio. But we're going to buy that on Coinbase. Once the funds settle and you have the Bitcoin in your Coinbase account, you're going to move it to your self-storage, cold storage wallet, which we're going to keep with Tangent. I'll do an episode on Tangent wallets as well, so you guys can see how that works. My personal Bitcoin, that it's not going to be on the public portfolio. I have on a much more advanced cold storage wallet. But for this portfolio, I think the Tangent will do just fine. So this is really going to be fun. I'm really excited to do this with y'all. I'm really excited to see the direction that you guys will see this portfolio goes in. And remember, the goal is $100,000 by the end of 2026. All right. So I had a blast making this video, and this is gonna make the future videos a lot of fun. So I can't wait to do this with you guys. Now, remember, this is the Debasement Index. My name is Angel Rios. Thank you for tuning into the episode, and for you guys that stayed at the end, I appreciate it so much. Go ahead and give a like and subscribe to this channel. It helps a lot. We're just starting out, so I appreciate all the support. Turn on the notification bell, and let's keep building capital in a fiat world together. Have a great night.